All the best. Okey, Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera kepada pembentang pihak CADe dan terima kasih kerana menjemput saya menjadi moderator pada pagi ini. Selamat datang semua ke sesi perkongsian inovasi pengajaran dan pembelajaran daripada hasil penyelidikan Geran Insentif Penyelidikan untuk Pengajaran dan Pembelajaran atau nama lain GIPP sempena Bulan Akademik Universiti Putra Malaysia 2020 dengan tema Teaching from the Heart, Fun Learning. Okey, untuk makluman semua, kita ada 3 pembentang pada hari ini. Mereka adalah Profesor Madya Dr. Nur Syamilah Zakaria daripada Fakulti Pengajian Pendidikan UPM. Pembentang kedua adalah Dr. Masnida Muhammad Kambari juga daripada Fakulti Pengajian Pendidikan. Dan pembentang terakhir adalah Dr. Masnida Husin daripada Fakulti Sains Komputer dan Teknologi Maklumat. Untuk makluman semua juga, sesi kita pada hari ini akan menggunakan 2 bahasa, iaitu bahasa Melayu dan juga bahasa Inggeris. Untuk makluman, setiap pembentang akan berkongsi inovasi mereka selama 20 hingga 30 minit dan kita akan raikan pertanyaan berkaitan pembentangan mereka selepas setiap pembentangan. Audiens dialukan untuk menulis soalan dan komen di ruangan chat Zoom dan saya akan bacakan dan ajukan kepada pembentang yang berkaitan. Setelah selesai semua sesi pembentangan, kita akan teruskan sesi kita dengan sesi soal jawab bersama pembentang-pembentang dan juga audiens. Okay, sebelum kita menjemput pembentang pertama, izinkan saya berkongsi tentang GIPP atau Geran Insentif Penyelidikan untuk Pengajaran dan Pembelajaran. GIPP adalah insentif yang telah diwujudkan bagi membiayai aktiviti penyelidikan dalam pengajaran dan pembelajaran sejak tahun 2012. Inisiatif GIPP ini tujuannya adalah untuk meningkatkan kualiti dan keberkesanan pengajaran dan pembelajaran melalui aktiviti penyelidikan. Jadi oleh itu hasil penyelidikan boleh dijadikan asas dalam membuat perancangan strategik berkaitan pembelajaran PMP universiti serta memberi impak kepada universiti dan juga pelajar sebagaimana matlamat UPM untuk mempertingkatkan kualiti dan daya saingan graduan. Di samping itu, GIPP membantu pembangunan kecemerlangan bakat dalam 4 laluan kerjaya bagi pegawai akademik yang memilih track pengajaran. Untuk makluman semua, bermula tahun 2017, inisiatif GIPP telah diperluaskan kepada penyelidikan secara kolaborasi di antara fakulti di UPM dalam usaha untuk memantapkan penjanaan teori, idea baru serta kepakaran pegawai akademik di UPM. Sepanjang pelaksanaan GIPP, sejak 2012 hingga 2020, lebih 100 orang pegawai akademik telah menerima peruntukan GIPP dengan agihan julat peruntukan di antara ringgit Malaysia 7,000 hingga ringgit Malaysia 30,000. Inisiatif peruntukan GIPP secara tidak langsung dapat menerapkan budaya inovasi dalam pengajaran dan pembelajaran di kalangan pegawai akademik UPM. Jadi itu sedikit sebanyak maklumat tentang GIPP. Dengan tidak melengahkan masa, saya akan menjemput pembentang pertama kita pada hari ini, iaitu Profesor Madya Dr. Nur Syamilah Zakaria, dan izinkan saya membacakan CV beliau . Okey, Profesor Madya Dr. Nur Syamilah Zakaria, beliau adalah seorang ahli akademik daripada Jabatan Pendidikan Kaunselor dan Psikologi Kaunseling, Fakulti Pengajian Pendidikan Universiti Putra Malaysia. Beliau juga adalah seorang kaunselor berdaftar dengan perakuan amalan daripada Lembaga Kaunselor Malaysia. Untuk makluman juga, beliau adalah alumni UPM kelas 2002 hingga 2007 dan pernah berkhidmat sebagai pegawai Perkhidmatan Pendidikan Siswazah Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia. Pada masa itu beliau adalah seorang kaunselor pelajar sekolah menengah. Beliau mempunyai kelayakan dalam bidang pendidikan kaunselor dan penyeliaan yang diperolehi daripada University of Wyoming, Amerika Syarikat, dan juga beliau mempunyai subkepakaran dalam bidang pendidikan etika kaunseling. Beliau juga telah menerima beberapa anugerah ketokohan dan kecemerlangan di peringkat antarabangsa dan kebangsaan dalam usaha beliau untuk memartabatkan penggarapan dan penyebaran ilmu serta sumbangan penglibatan langsung bersama masyarakat. Minat dan kecintaan beliau terhadap dunia pendidikan dan profesion kaunseling telah menjurus kepada tumpuan kajian semasa yang berfokus kepada inovasi dalam pengajaran dan pembelajaran pendidikan etika kaunseling. Sehingga kini beliau telah menerbitkan beberapa buah artikel di dalam jurnal berimpak tinggi dan berindeks yang berfokus kepada tajuk-tajuk berkaitan dengan pendidikan kaunselor dan penyeliaan, pendidikan etika kaunseling, pengukuran pendidikan etika kaunseling dan pendidikan keguruan. Dengan sedikit pengenalan tentang Profesor Madya Dr. Nur Syamilah, dijemput Dr. Nur Syamilah untuk membentangkan inovasi beliau pada pagi ini. Dijemput ya.
Okay, terima kasih kepada Prof Moderator Prof Dr. Syafinas Amin Nordin daripada Fakulti Perubatan dan Sains Kesihatan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera buat semua. Yang saya kasihi Sekretariat Pusat Pembangunan Akademik UPM, dan yang saya kasihi juga rakan-rakan pembentang daripada dua fakulti yang lain, iaitu Dr. Masnida Mat Kambari daripada fakulti saya sendiri, Fakulti Pengajian Pendidikan, dan Profesor Madya Dr. Masnida Hussein daripada Fakulti Sains Komputer dan Teknologi Maklumat. Yang terutamanya adalah yang kita raikan rakan-rakan pensyarah di UPM dan seluruh Malaysia selamat menyambut Bulan Pendidik 2020. Of course, saya ingin juga alu-alukan kedatangan kawan-kawan kita secara maya di dalam Zoom untuk program hari ini. Saya berbesar hati dan bersyukur kerana diberi peluang untuk berkongsi sedikit sebanyak tentang inovasi pengajaran dan pembelajaran daripada penyelidikan geran GIPP yang telah diperolehi. Kita harapkan apa yang dikongsi ini mungkin bukanlah yang terbaik, tetapi boleh menjadi inspirasi dan juga lesson learn kepada penyelidik-penyelidik akan datang supaya dapat memanfaatkan memanfaatkan apa yang Pusat Pembangunan Akademik UPM berikan kepada kita semua sebagai platform untuk terus berkembang dalam kerjaya kita sebagai seorang pendidik di UPM dan di Malaysia secara umumnya. Okey, saya akan mulakan dengan sedikit pengenalan. Okey, mungkin Puan Yasmin boleh tolong sharekan. Okey, apa yang saya akan kongsikan pada hari ini adalah berkenaan dengan satu inovasi dalam pendidikan, iaitu yang saya namakan Inovasi. Inovasi ini merupakan satu gamification based mobile application. Saya mohon maaf kerana slide saya ni saya sediakan dalam bahasa Inggeris, tetapi sebagaimana yang Prof Moderator dah beritahu kita tadi, kita akan menggunakan mixed languages dalam sesi ini. So insya-Allah boleh kita semua hadam dan fahami ya. Pasukan penyelidik saya apabila diberikan geran ini adalah terdiri daripada saya sendiri dan dibantu oleh pasukan penyelidik daripada fakulti lain, iaitu Profesor Dr. Muhammad Iqbal Saripan dan juga Profesor Dr. Aliani Ismail. Saya juga dibantu oleh satu orang enumerator sebenarnya yang merupakan pelajar PhD saya, iaitu Saudari Nirusyah Subarimaniam. Geran ini sebenarnya kalau saya boleh ceritakanlah, geran ini sebenarnya merupakan geran pertama saya di UPM yang saya ketuai. Jadi sedikit sebanyak yang pertama itu selalunya biasanya memang yang special buat kita. Jadi di sini sebenarnya saya mempelajari banyak selok-belok untuk menjadi ketua penyelidik, untuk menguruskan penyelidikan dalam masa yang ditetapkan, untuk menguruskan penyelidikan tu apabila berlaku satu-satu perancangan yang tidak dapat kita penuhi. Jadi geran ini sebenarnya menjadi titik tolak kepada saya untuk lebih kreatif dalam memastikan kelancaran geran, dan pada masa yang sama passion saya untuk meneruskan kajian dalam bidang ini, saya boleh pergi lebih jauh. Okey. Slide seterusnya. Jadi apa sebenarnya Inovasi ini? Kalau kita perhatikan ethos ni untuk kawan-kawan di luar sana yang mungkin pernah membaca ataupun ada interest tentang ethics, dia adalah perkataan ini tu bermaksud ethics dalam bahasa Greek. Jadi kenapa sebenarnya ethos Han ni saya wujudkan atau saya inovasikan? Dia bermula daripada passion saya sendiri di dalam bidang pendidikan etika kaunseling. Apabila saya menjadi sebagaimana yang dikenalkan oleh Prof Moderator tadi, saya merupakan alumni kelas 2002 dan alumni kelas 2007. Bermakna peringkat prasiswazah saya dan peringkat master saya memang mempelajari ilmu pendidikan etika kaunseling ini. Jadi apa yang saya dapati bila saya menjadi seorang pensyarah ni, saya rasa bila saya mengajar kursus ini sebenarnya hampir sama dengan apa yang saya dah pelajari dan saya rasa saya faham bila kita belajar ethics. Terutamanya dalam bidang kaunseling, bila ethics dalam bidang kaunseling ni kebanyakannya kita akan tengok kod etika kaunselor yang dikeluarkan oleh Lembaga Kaunselor Malaysia dan kita belajar perkara yang do's and don'ts, perkara yang dibenarkan dengan yang tidak dibenarkan, tetapi pada masa yang sama kita faham bahawa pendidikan etika ni dia sentiasa bermain ataupun kita sentiasa berhadapan dengan keadaan grey area. Okay. Bila do's and don'ts dia adalah black and white, tetapi ethics ni adalah sesuatu yang grey area. Bila grey area bermakna kita perlukan pemikiran ataupun penakulan aras tinggi untuk memastikan kita tidak berlaku malpraktis ataupun salah praktis dalam profession kita. Tak kiralah profession apa, mungkin sekarang ni saya fokuskan kepada profession kaunselor ataupun profession keguruan lah. Tetapi mana-mana profession saya percaya kita mempunyai kod etika yang tersendiri. Okay. Jadi daripada situ sebenarnya saya mula tercetus pertanyaan. I have the inquiry about macam mana sebenarnya kita nak bantu pelajar kita faham sebenarnya ataupun mendalami. Faham satu, mendalami itu sebenarnya lebih susah untuk kita pastikan. Dan biasanya kalau untuk program kaunseling ni, kelas-kelas etika ni dia akan belajar pada awal semester, seawal semester pertama atau kedua. Jadi, bayangkan sepanjang pengajian itu dan akhirnya apabila mereka bergraduat, mereka kena bawa segala ilmu dan juga praktis yang ditetapkan secara etikanya dalam satu-satu profession tu ke dalam dunia kerjaya mereka. Jadi sebenarnya macam mana kita nak pastikan, macam mana saya boleh pastikan bahawa pelajar saya ni betul-betul faham instead of the grades that they have given, sebenarnya A atau B atau apa-apa saja grade yang mereka perolehi itu mereka boleh internalize. Jadi apabila internalize itulah sebenarnya part itu yang saya rasa susah sebenarnya untuk kita pastikan. Macam mana kita tahu bahawasanya mungkin pengajaran kita tu boleh ditingkat ataupun ditambah baik apabila kita mempunyai maklumat tentang salah laku ataupun kita panggil malpraktis yang berlaku dalam profession. Mungkin kalau di dalam negara kita ni, kalau dari sudut ataupun bidang kaunseling tu masih lagi dikira baru. Jadi bila berlaku malpraktis, mungkin kita masih lagi rasa takut-takut untuk bawa ke muka pengadilan dan sebagainya. Tetapi memang kita tahu ada berlaku klien-klien yang membuat laporan tentang salah laku ataupun malpraktis yang berlaku di dalam sesi kaunseling itu sendiri. Kalau saya bagi contohlah yang grey area tadi tu, untuk kawan-kawan mungkin lebih faham. Grey area tu contohnya kalau di Malaysia ni kita biasa kalau kita rasa suka, bersyukur dan sebagainya kita beri hadiah kepada orang yang kita suka itu. Contohnya kalau hari guru, bulan pendidik ni biasa kita akan dihujani dengan kalau kelas bersemuka lah hadiah-hadiah daripada para pelajar kita. Jadi budaya itu ataupun norma itu boleh diterima dalam masyarakat kita. Tetapi dalam profession counselling memang tercatat dekat situ clearly dalam code of ethics kita, there is no such thing as gift giving. Tak boleh beri hadiah kepada kaunselor kalaupun kita rasa kaunselor tu sangat membantu perkembangan hidup kita, menghadapi isu kita dan sebagainya. Jadi di situlah kadang-kadang kita berlaku grey area yang mana kod kod etika kaunselor mengatakan tak boleh beri hadiah, tak boleh bertukar hadiah. Tetapi pada masa yang sama, norma di Malaysia ini, norma di dalam negara kita ini membenarkan. Jadi bila berlaku keadaan macam gitu, apabila klien memberikan kita hadiah, Kalau kita nak kata tak boleh, kod etika kaunselor kata tak boleh. Jadi sudah pastilah akan memberi sedikit rasa kecewa di hati klien kita. Jadi di situlah sebenarnya kita nak mendidik para pelajar kita supaya macam mana nak balance between the code, apa yang ditulis dalam kod, apa yang dikehendaki dalam profession dengan dunia sebenar. Jadi di sinilah sebenarnya effort itu ataupun pertanyaan itulah sebenarnya yang mencetuskan idea untuk saya dan pasukan saya ini mencipta ethos Han. Jadi ethos Han ni basically untuk menambah baik pengajaran kita yang berlaku di dalam kelas sehari-harian, kerana kita percaya bahawa pengajaran itu akan jadi lebih menarik kalau kita mempunyai satu alat untuk menarik minat pelajar. Okay, selain daripada itu dia juga berfungsi sebagai motivation driver. Maknanya kalaulah misal kata bila kita baca kod tu kita rasa banyaknya do's and don'ts. Jadi bila ada satu ethos Han, satu aplikasi mobile ini menyebabkan pelajar especially pada generasi masa sekarang ni, dia akan rasa lebih menarik sebenarnya untuk duduk dalam kelas dan attention span dia akan menjadi lebih lama. Kita tahu maknanya bila pelajar ataupun generasi sekarang ni dia tak boleh duduk lama. Kalau kursus 2-3 jam tu kita tak boleh nak duduk dengar dan sebagainya. Jadi nak duduk dengar saja tu memang confirm tak boleh lah, tak masuk. Jadi di situlah sebenarnya nanti mobile application ni akan membantu menambah baik apa yang kita ada dalam kelas. Selain daripada itu, ethos Han ni juga diharapkan akan mampu triggers exploration in finding information relevant to the ethics course being taught. Jadi dekat situ sebenarnya dalam pengisian ethos Han itu dalam aplikasi mobile itu sebenarnya dia akan ada aktiviti-aktiviti yang mana kita percaya bahawa sama sahaja kalau duduk dalam kelas bersemuka, kita beri assignment, beri tugasan dalam kelas, tetapi sekarang bentuk assignment itu ditambah baik dan dimasukkan ke dalam apps ethos Han itu. Okay. Selain daripada itu kita juga membina ethos Han ini untuk membina kefahaman sama saja kefahaman tentang game elements. Kalau kita faham tentang macam mana kita main treasure hunt dulu, bermakna dengan adanya ethos Han ini konsep treasure hunt itu sama tetapi dibawa ke dalam aplikasi mobile. Jadi sebenarnya dia adalah gamification based educational tool, tapi pada masa yang sama kita combinekan konsep treasure hunt itu bersama dengan konten-konten yang ada dalam pendidikan etika counselling. Okay, jadi di situ bermakna dia incorporate sekali lah multiple games elements such as dynamics, game mechanics, points and hint. Itu adalah yang perkara biasa dalam gamifikasi dan juga dalam konsep treasure hunt yang tradisional kita. Okay, cuma tinggal lagi semua benda tu dirangkumkan dan dimasukkan ke dalam satu aplikasi mobile untuk serve the needs of the current generation yang sentiasa ada di tangan dia cellphone, dan pada masa yang sama dia kena belajar, terutama sekarang ni belajar online. Jadi selain daripada menghadap skrin laptop, mungkin aktiviti yang ada dalam aplikasi mobile tu untuk pengajaran ethics education ni akan membantu sparks the interest and understanding pelajar. Harapnya macam itulah. Okey, seterusnya saya kongsikan sedikit tentang operation of ethos Han ni. Saya tidak pergi kepada perkara-perkara teknikal sangat. Kalau kawan-kawan perasan tadi di dalam pengenalan pasukan saya itu datangnya Prof Iqbal dan Prof Aliani. I am blessed to have both of them daripada faculty of engineering sebenarnya. Jadi saya tahu inquiry saya itu adalah berkaitan dengan macam mana nak tambah baik pengajaran dan pembelajaran etika counselling. Saya mempunyai idea bahawasanya generasi sekarang, kalau saya tengok anak-anak saya dan sebagainya dekat rumah ni, maknanya kalau ada app saja lebih mudah untuk dia fokus. Tetapi pada masa yang sama saya tidak mempunyai, saya mungkin ada idea dan ada pengetahuan, tetapi kepakaran tentang membina apps itu, jadi that is why saya masukkan ahli pasukan penyelidik saya ni untuk mereka yang faham dan boleh bantu saya dalam geran ini. Jadi both of them has been working very good with me dari segi benda-benda yang patut ada dalam apps itulah. Saya cerita dalam bentuk layman lah. Okay, untuk mereka yang pakar dalam bidang ni mungkin lebih faham secara teknikalnya. Okey, jadi apa yang berlaku adalah dalam ethos Han ini, untuk step yang pertama, bila dah selesai ethos Han itu dicipta, kita akan communicatekan hints kepada student dan pensyarah akan hantar hints kepada student melalui mobile apps itu. Contohnya lah soalan-soalan beserta untuk menguji ataupun menambahkan kefahaman pelajar tentang apa yang telah dikuliahkan di dalam kelas. Okay. Yang keduanya dan seterusnya adalah Android application ini akan terima hints secara automatik dan akan memberi alert kepada pelajar. Maknanya soalan daripada pensyarah dah sampai ni. The types of hints are hidden information in virtual and also real world. Masa kita sebelum PKP, kita boleh lagi sebenarnya incorporate real world ini, maknanya bila mereka masuk ke kelas. Jadi ini juga salah satu cara untuk saya pastikan pelajar takkan rasa nak ponteng kelas itu. Okay, jadi pada mulanya mungkin mereka rasa macam kalau ada kod di tangan, code of ethics kat tangan, baca je kod tu macam kita when we read law untuk pelajar-pelajar undang-undang, biasanya bila ada je akta dan sebagainya itu dia rasa dah selamat dah, tak datang kelas pun tak apa. Tetapi dalam hal ini mereka mesti datang kerana the information ataupun hints itu akan diberi oleh pensyarah dalam kelas dan juga secara virtual. Jadi you cannot really just rely on your phone, on your cell phone, but you really have to come to class. You will have to come to my class in order for you to understand what exactly the information or the assignment would be. Right. Seterusnya, student akan submit answers kepada instructor mengikut tempoh yang diberikan dan mereka akan earn certain points. So earning ethos point ni sebenarnya pelajar akan diberi markah untuk jawapan yang betul dan mereka akan progress sepanjang 14 minggu pengajian tu dan mengikut levels of ethics inquisition yang kita dah setkan dalam kelas kita. Jadi kalau tengok dekat situ ada seolah-olahnya kalau dia belum lagi complete stage yang pertama itu, maknanya dia tak boleh nak move on lah. Maknanya dia mesti habiskan assignment dan assignment itu sebenarnya akan memberi kefahaman untuk membantu mereka maju dalam pelajaran mereka, pengajian mereka untuk stage yang seterusnya. Okay, seterusnya, slide yang seterusnya, Puan Yasmin. Thank you. Okay, seterusnya saya akan berkongsi tentang kelebihan ethos Han ini dan kita telah laksanakan satu pilot study dan juga satu real study yang mana kami mendapati positive relationship between positive emotions and gamification based mobile application usability among the respondents. Jadi dekat sini antara advantage ethos Han adalah it will actually able to increase students positive emotion. Selain daripada itu kita juga tahu apabila penggunaannya menggunakan cellphone, jadi portable lah dia ni. Okay, kalau suatu masa dulu di awal penciptaan inovasi ni kita memang buat secara web based dan juga maknanya kalau pelajar yang tidak mempunyai cellphone mereka boleh juga akses melalui web based. Tetapi saya percaya as time passes by kebanyakan pelajar kita sekarang ni memang saya rasa almost 9 to 97% semuanya ada. Dan saya rasa dalam semester yang baru buka ni kalau kita semak pun memang kalau dalam kelas saya, kebanyakan dalam department saya memang biasanya memang 100% lah pelajar ni akan ada akses kepada cellphone masing-masing. Kemudian it can be used at free of cost for students. Okay. Setakat ini memang kita tidak, ini pelajar boleh dapat secara free lah daripada pensyarah masing-masing, tak perlu bayar. Integrates hidden information in virtual world dan akhir sekali adalah advantage dia, ini merupakan satu new teaching and learning methods for ethics education. Saya percaya memang banyak cara-cara mengajar pendidikan etika di luar sana. Tetapi sebagaimana yang kita selalu tulis dalam write-up untuk projek kita ini, ethos Han ini bukan untuk mengganti face-to-face learning method kita. Kita adalah complement. Ethos Han ini diwujudkan untuk complement the face-to-face. Jadi contohnya bila dalam keadaan sekarang ni, bila kita tak boleh nak buat kelas secara face-to-face, ethos Han ni definitely akan membantu dari segi pengajaran kita secara dalam talian yang kita buat ini. Jadi selain daripada pelajar mungkin boleh buat secara segerak, tidak segerak dan sebagainya, ethos-han ni sebenarnya boleh dijadikan sebagai salah satu aktiviti ataupun metod PDP kita secara tidak segerak. Okay. Seterusnya. Okay, slide yang terakhir saya ini adalah berkenaan dengan recognition dan publication of ethos-han setakat ini. Jadi saya menzahirkan rasa syukur kepada CADe dan juga geran GIPP sebagaimana yang saya kongsikan tadi, ini merupakan geran pertama saya sebagai PI di UPM selepas saya balik belajar. Jadi dengan geran kadang-kadang kita rasa macam kenapa CADe kita nak minta banyak lagi dan sebagainya. But I am sure inisiatif CADe adalah untuk memastikan seramai mungkin daripada pensyarah di UPM ini untuk terlibat secara langsung di dalam penyelidikan yang berasaskan pengajaran dan pembelajaran. Jadi dengan geran 10,000 yang diberikan oleh CADe untuk saya majukan projek ini, sebenarnya kita telah mendapat 2 copyright daripada MyPo, iaitu untuk source code dan juga untuk manual. Okay, itu yang pertama. Yang keduanya, kita telah memperolehi 6 trademarks daripada MyPo untuk projek ethos-han ini, untuk logo dan word untuk kelas 9, kelas 14 dan kelas 16. Kalau kawan-kawan biasa dengan PSP, maknanya mungkin boleh tinjau lebih lanjutlah apa maksud kelas 9, 14, 16 itu. Okay. Yang ketiganya, kita mempunyai 8 proceedings, conference proceedings publish untuk ethos-han, dan yang terkini adalah kita berjaya menerbitkan satu artikel di dalam Q2 untuk tahun ini, Q2 Journal, dan juga satu di dalam Scopus untuk tahun ini juga, alhamdulillah. Jadi sebagaimana saya maklumkan kepada pihak CADe, maknanya untuk menutup geran ini, kita rasa sangat berpuas hati dan bersyukur kerana kita mampu bawa apa yang diberikan oleh CADe ini sehingga ke tahap ini. Mungkin penyelidik lain boleh maju lebih lagi, tetapi untuk ethos-han ini yang kami dapat hasilkan setakat inilah. Okay, selain daripada itu, kita mendapat gold medal di Putra Innovative Carnival di Pictel tahun lepas, dan juga kita mempunyai 1 gold medal di International Counselling Innovation Showcase and Competition Inovasi 2019 juga. Jadi kalau yang untuk pertama itu adalah penyertaan Pictel kita berasaskan penyelidikan, berasaskan teaching and learning, dan kalau untuk yang di Inovasi itu adalah penyelidikan dan inovasi berasaskan bidang kaunseling. Dan saya mesti juga sebut sebagai salah satu recognition, sebenarnya ethos-han ini telah mendapat satu upscaling grant juga daripada CADe untuk kami terus menambah baik projek ini kepada bidang selain daripada pendidikan dan juga kaunseling. Jadi apa yang berlaku adalah daripada upscaling grant itu yang sedang kami laksanakan, dan kita cuba tengok macam mana nak menghadapi ataupun menyiapkannya dalam musim pandemik ini. Saya akan bawa the idea of ethos-han ini untuk diguna pakai kepada pelajar-pelajar di fakulti kejuruteraan. Maknanya kita tahu dekat sana pun mempunyai badan profesionalnya sendiri, dan pada masa yang sama hopefully macam mana mereka mempelajari ethos-han ini, mempelajari ethics dalam engineering dapat digunakan. Ethos-han ini dapat membantu pensyarah dan juga pelajar memahami dengan lebih mendalam dan lebih meluas tentang prinsip-prinsip etika dan penggunaan etika di dalam bidang kejuruteraan, insya-Allah. Dan mungkin lepas itu kita akan expand ke bidang-bidang lain lah, macam bidang medical, bidang sains dan sebagainya. We will see, insya-Allah, tengoklah macam mana nanti. Hopefully kami masih mempunyai iltizam dan azam untuk terus menyambung penyelidikan ini walaupun dalam keadaan yang sukar sekarang ni lah, insya-Allah. Itu saja daripada saya perkongsian tentang ethos-han dengan masa yang diberi. Prof Moderator, Prof Dr. Shafinas. Okay. Saya kembalikan pada Prof.
Terima kasih Dr. Syamila. Tahniah kepada Dr. Syamila dan juga ahli kumpulan di atas pencapaian dan juga pengiktirafan daripada inovasi Inovasi ya. So kalau saya boleh recall atau saya boleh kupaskan, jadi ini adalah satu strategi untuk meningkatkan attention span, kiranya engagement lah of the student kan.
Betul
Alright.
Prof.
And lagi satu dan take home message daripada perkongsian ini juga adalah kebaikan untuk bekerjasama dengan penyelidik daripada pelbagai background kan kiranya. Betul ke?
Betul Prof. Betul.
Kolaborasi kan dengan ahli. Okay,
Betul.
sebelum
Penyelidikan
kita teruskan
kolaborasi
dengan pembentang. Okey. Alright. Dan mungkin saya boleh tanya sedikit soalan kita alukan juga soalan daripada pendengar. Pendengar semua boleh menulis soalan di ruangan chat yang saya akan bacakan. So sementara tunggu kalau ada apa-apa soalan dan komen daripada pendengar. Kalau saya boleh bertanya soalan kepada Dr. Syamila, ada tak any feedback tentang kebaikan menggunakan Inovasi ni daripada pelajar sendiri? Feedback tentang kebaikan dan juga mungkin ada cadangan untuk penambahbaikan.
Okay, thank you Prof. Mungkin kalau saya boleh share tentang pilot study dan juga the real study yang kita buat, yang telah kita laporkan tadi. Sebenarnya dalam study kita tu selain daripada komponen kuantitatif, kita juga bertanyakan open-ended questions dan sebagainya daripada para peserta kita dan kita juga interview. Jadi sebenarnya it is actually a mixed method study. Yang saya laporkan tadi adalah yang bahagian kuantitatif. So yang untuk bahagian kualitatif sebenarnya kita saya kata tadi enumerator saya tu memang masuk ke dalam kelas dan buat observation, dan pada masa yang sama kita juga meneliti dokumentasi dari segi macam mana sebenarnya penghasilan assignment, tugasan pelajar apabila dia menerima ataupun menggunakan Inovasi ini. Jadi sebelum ni kita mempunyai maklumat tentang kalau pelajar masuk ke kelas buat assignment, itulah dia rupa bentuk hasilannya. Tetapi bila menggunakan Inovasi ni, adakah mereka hasilan ataupun kefahaman mereka tu akan jadi lebih baik dan sebagainya. Jadi selain daripada kita tanya dengan student, of course memang rata-rata saya rasa almost 99% akan mengatakan seronoklah sebab lebih mudah, lebih menarik, fun learning experience. Seolah-olah kalau dia keluar kelas pun maknanya pengajaran tu bukan hanya tertumpu dalam kelas. Jadi dia tahu learning can happen anywhere. Kalau dulu maknanya bila kita onkan Inovasi ini sebenarnya kita setkan parameter dia mesti dalam UPM lah. Contohnya cari kaunselor berdaftar dan grab information tentang pengalaman mereka. Jadi di dalam UPM ni sebenarnya ramai kaunselor-kaunselor berdaftar yang mereka boleh pergi dan dapatkan maklumat itu. Rather than kalau dulu kita sebenarnya assignment berkenaan tu kita minta interview kaunselor berdaftar dan come out dengan laporan. Jadi sekarang ni seolah-olah they are meeting the real person, dan pada masa yang sama kita ada tambahkan dekat situ komponen videokan apa kata-kata nasihat dia dari segi etikanya kepada kaunselor-kaunselor baru ni. Jadi dekat situ sebenarnya kita percaya attention dan juga understanding span dia tu akan lebih lama, lebih kukuh kerana dia sendiri yang interview dan dia melaksanakan assignment itu secara langsung dengan orang berkenaan. Jadi rather dan sebelum ni mungkin dia cari dalam buku teks dan sebagainya kan maklumat tu. Masih sama, that is why saya kata tadi tujuan kita inovasi Inovasi ni bukan untuk menggantikan apa yang kita dah ada. Dia hanya untuk menambah baik dan merancangkan lagi aktiviti PDP kita di dalam kelas ataupun di luar kelas. Okay, jadi pelajar-pelajar memang responnya adalah sangat they are so excited about the apps. Cuma mungkin saya boleh kongsi juga penambahbaikan dekat sini. Yang mereka cadangkan ialah sebab kalau saya tulis dekat situ tadi dia adalah Android based. Jadi mungkin yang orang kata boleh tak sebab kebanyakannya ada yang guna iPhone dan sebagainya. Jadi boleh tak maknanya sebarluaskanlah kepada platform yang boleh dicapai oleh mereka. Jadi di situ sebenarnya again it is about costing, dan kita percaya maknanya pihak CADe sentiasa mengalu-alukan penyelidik untuk memohon kalau untuk membuat penambahbaikan apps dan sebagainya. Kita pun faham apabila apps ni dia tak boleh outdated. Jadi kalau kita bina benda ni mungkin setahun yang lepas cepat je teknologi tu berubah. Jadi memang when it comes to apps mesti nak kena sentiasa barukan. Itulah cabaran kita ya Prof. Saya dan pasukan tu maknanya fikirkan bajet, fikirkan keadaan dan sebagainya. Jadi sometimes yang dah ada ni kita akur, tapi kita tahu memang masih banyak ruang penambahbaikan lah untuk kita buat. Okay Prof.
Okey, terima kasih. Saya harap perkongsian dan tambahan perkongsian tadi dapat dijadikan panduan oleh rakan-rakan akademik yang mendengar sesi perkongsian kita pada hari ini. Okey, terima kasih Dr. Syamila. Jadi kita akan meneruskan sesi perkongsian kita pada hari ini dengan pembentang kedua iaitu Dr. Dr. Masnida Muhammad Kambari. Jadi saya akan bacakan CV beliau. Kali ini CV beliau saya akan bacakan dalam bahasa Inggeris. Okay, Dr. Masnida Muhammad Kambari is a senior lecturer in instructional technologies, learning design and innovation at the Department of Foundations of Education, Faculty of Educational Studies. Dr. Mas is an associate fellow at the Center for Academic Development, CADe, and was a member of the Innovative Teaching and Learning Task Force. Dr. Masnida's research interests and specialization include instructional design, innovation and emerging technologies in teaching and learning, gamification, alternative assessment, and the scholarship of teaching and learning. Dr. Masnida is currently the associate member of the Education Program Subcommittee of the prestigious Asia Pacific Society for Computers in Education, and she is also actively involved in the Special Interest Group, which is the development of ICT in the Asia Pacific region under the APS-SCE flagship conference under the Asia Pacific Society Conference. Since 2014. And I am also pleased to share that Dr. Masnida has actively participated and won several medals at innovative teaching and learning competitions, both at the university and national levels. In fact, in 2019, she was awarded the Putra Inno Creative Award for the Best Inno Creative Educator under the category of face-to-face immersive learning experience. Dr. Masnida has been chairing the Innovation Showcase program since 2015, and Dr. Masnida was also the former coordinator of the Putra Future Classroom at the Faculty of Educational Studies. Currently, Dr. Masnida is the head of the Educational Technology Unit and the coordinator of Immersive Learning Hub, which promotes immersive and discovery learning to sustain learners' interest through the 21st century technologies and interactive learning environment. Okay, with that, let's welcome Dr. Masnida.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning everybody. Terima kasih yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Shafinas, yang dihormati rakan pembentang Profesor Madya Dr. Syamila Zakaria, rakan pembentang Profesor Madya Dr. Masnida Husin, pengarah dan timbalan-timbalan pengarah CADe, dan rakan-rakan yang menghadiri sesi pada hari ini. Sebelum saya mulakan, boleh saya mohon pihak CADe untuk membenarkan saya berkongsikan paparan skrin. Okey, boleh nampak skrin saya?
Boleh Doktor.
Alright, thank you. Okay, first of all, pertama sekali saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada pihak CADe di atas peluang untuk berkongsikan tentang geran insentif pengajaran dan pembelajaran ini. So thank you so much to CADe for the opportunity, and I would like also take this opportunity to wish everybody selamat Hari Pendidik. Dan I'm very pleased to share about my research grants and activities with all of you. So izinkan saya membentang dalam dua bahasa. Alright, so for this grant bertajuk Prototyping Putra Pacer, a generic differentiated assessment tool for mixed ability classroom. So this is my second GIPP grant. The first grant was about gamification. I think I got that grant about the same as Dr. Syamila. And then this is the second one that I have received for GIPP. So untuk geran ini kami bermula pada I think about December in 2019, and we are in full force working on this grant for the whole 2019 and until now, right? Until 2020. So let me, I would like to also attribute my appreciation to my team and to my team members. So I'm the leader of this grant. And then we have Professor Dr. Wong Suluan and Dr. Noris Muhammad Nurawi. She's from Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology. We also have a couple of friends from there too, which is Dr. Azrul Hazri Jantan and Professor Dr. Rahmita Wirza, also from the Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology. We also have Associate Professor Dr. Tengku Fadila on board. And for the purpose of this grant, okay, we are also recruiting one Masters of Science student in educational technology at my faculty, which is Miss Christy Majudin, right? So she has been working with us closely. So let me just begin with the background of this grant. All right. So as I was doing the literature on alternative assessment, on differentiated assessment, I came across this quote by Tom Limson. So Tom Limson says that ensuring rock solid clarity about where we want students to end up as a result of a sequence of learning is fundamental to educational success. So remembering that we cannot reach the mind we do not engage ought to be a daily compass for educational planning. So as I was reading this quote again and again, I realized that assessment is deemed very important as a proof that learning happens. So regardless of learners' ability. So if we do not assess our students, we will never know what they have learned or whether what they have understand or what they know or what they did not know, what can they grasp or what they did not grasp, right? So with this aforementioned quote just now by Tom Limson, right, it can be translated that assessment can be a powerful tool to determine whether an instructor is engaged with their learners' minds and whether the students are actually learning. So I discussed with my team members and we thought that, we want to create something, an assessment tool that can prove that learning happens, right? Learning happens. And then we also know that based on the literatures, okay, we also know that by conducting assessment, it can improve instructors or teachers' pedagogical qualities, because when you get the results of your students through assessment, you may be able to identify which part of the teaching, of your teaching, is missing or you need to improve, right? And we also know that assessment can give a better picture of learners' abilities. You know, when you have grades and you can see that, oh, some students are doing really good and some students are not. So through assessment, we can identify that, right? Identify learners' abilities. Also, assessment can be used as a tool to determine engagement with students' minds. All right. So because we do not know, we cannot see what the students see or what the students understand or do not understand. So we can use assessment as a tool to determine engagement with students' minds. Apart from that, assessment can also be used as a platform to enhance the scholarship of teaching and learning. And also, we know that there is a continuous interaction between assessment and instruction. So it has a reciprocal relationship. So assessment informs instruction and instruction informs assessment. Right? So we know that UPM is spearheading the alternative assessment. So the Center of Academic Development has a special task force for alternative assessment. So I think this shows that yes, UPM is very serious and UPM is pioneering in this area. So as instructors, we need to acknowledge that students vary in terms of their learning abilities, be it their culture, their socioeconomic status, their gender, motivation, and needs. So there's a lot of learning abilities, okay? So because of this, this awareness, okay, has increased instructors. These ideas has increased instructors' awareness on mixed ability classroom. So in one classroom, we have different kind of students with different background, different culture, different motivation. So they are mixed ability students, right? So realizing the need for a personalized learning, many instructors have started to embark on differentiated learning and instruction to capitalize on students' ability, right? So we need to capitalize students' ability. So if one student do not do good in one assignment or in one test, it doesn't mean that they do not have any ability at all. It doesn't mean that they did not learn at all. So we want to conduct assessments that can capitalize their ability and mixed ability classroom. We want to cater varied learning abilities. We want to provide opportunities to our students to prove that they have learned. And we also want to let our learners study or learn in their own pace and ability. Right? So this is when we come up with Putra Pesa. We thought that, okay, when we look at the current practices in UPM on assessment, so we have a lot of project based, we have a lot of student-centered learning, student-centered assessments, right? But we are still very much tied to the pen and paper kind of examination to evaluate our students. But we think that we want to emphasize on what assessment really is. So assessment, the heart of assessment is allowing students to be able to prove that they have learned, right? Allowing students to make mistakes and learn from their mistakes, giving second chances to students so that they don't feel like they are penalized, they are being penalized for not being able to do it correctly the first time. So we think that, okay, we want to create Putra Pesa, which provide choices and opportunities to students, which also let students progress according to the taxonomy, the Bloom's taxonomy. All right, and we also want it to become a tool that is intuitive to the learner's ability. So if the learner's ability is low, and we want to help the learners to go higher in the taxonomy. All right, so we want the system to be able to identify that and then guide or scaffold the learners until they are able to get to the outcome that we require them to be at. All right. So let me just explain how Putra Pesa works for students. All right. So Putra Pesa works as a taxonomy based. So let me show this. Let me show this simulation. All right. I will have to explain this one by one. So you may be wondering, why do I have a lot of circles over here? All right. So so let's say these are the taxonomies. Okay, so we have C1, C2, C3, C4, right? So these are the taxonomies that we usually have in our course outline, okay, course outcome. So we have C1 until C6. So for this purpose, let me just explain from C1 until C4. Okay, so let's say the yellow one is C1 and then this light orange is C2. dark orange is C4 and this maroon C3 and this maroon one is C4. Okay, so if we let the learners answer the first question, all right, the first question, okay, and they do it correctly, they can proceed to the second question. They do it correctly, they may proceed to the third question. If they do this correctly, they will go up to the fourth question, but they also go up to the second taxonomy, which is C2. Okay, so if they do this correctly, they got this correct, they will go to C3. And if they got things correct, they will go to C4. But if they have some things that, if they go, let's say they go C1, correct, 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 and then the fourth one, they got it wrong, so they will go back down to C1. So why do we have this kind of levels of this kind of taxonomy? Okay. The purpose of having this kind of taxonomy is because we want our learners to be able to prove that they have learned. Because sometimes if we give students questions like, let's say question 1 is C1, question 2 is C2, C3, C4, we mix all the questions. So if there are 20 questions and there are 5 questions on C4 and they got all wrong, so they will get like only 15 points out of 20. So if we have this kind of what do we say? This kind of simulation, C1, and then if they got it correct, they go to C2. They'll get higher points and higher points for higher taxonomy. All right. So if they did not get points for C2, C3, or C4, they will go back down to C1. They can still get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. They can still get 12 points for this, right? But if they go up to C2 with 2 points, so they will get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and so on and so forth. So this is also depending on the instructor. What is the point that you want to allocate at each taxonomy, all right? So by doing so, students will not feel like they failed, but actually they can prove that they have learned and they get some marks. It's just that they could not get higher marks for this. But for your information, we will not display to the students that the levels or the taxonomy of the question. So they will not know whether the questions is on a higher level or lower level, all right? Okay, we also allow students do over their work. So when they sit for the assessment and then they did not get, they did not get the marks that they hope they would get, right? So they can do it again. So they can use this as a practice tool for them to improve their knowledge, right? Other than that, we also allow for audio recording. So we have MCQ sections. We also have the subjective sections for the students to record their work. They can do audio recording. So let's say they were given this one question, and then they can record their voice, and then they say, okay, this is what I think is happening in this situation. So they will record. They can do a voice recording. They can also do a video recording, and also they can upload pictures. So let's say you are a maths teacher and you want to see the jalan kerja for your students. So you can let the students write their work, okay, the jalan kerja of mathematics, and then they can upload, take a picture of it and upload on the system, okay. So that is basically what Putra Pacer is. Okay, and if you want to know more, you can go to putrapacer.com. You can also email me if you'd like to try this platform for your assessment this semester. Right, so we are still recruiting participants for this research. So I would like to just share with all of you our activities for this grant. Okay, so in 2019, we presented at Pictel, and we also presented for copyright in February 2020. And we have one paper accepted in conference proceedings and will be presented next month at the International Conference on Computers in Education. Right, so we have also recruited our participants early this year and mid this year. All right, so they are lecturers in UPM and also school teachers in Sandakan Sabah. So my student, Miss Christy, she is from Sandakan Sabah, and she has talked to the school teachers there, and they are interested to use Putra Pacer for assessment with their students. Okay, I think it's also a blessing in disguise when COVID-19 pandemic hits our country and MCO ensues. So during that time, people are looking for alternative ways to conduct assessments with their students. So they are pretty much interested to try our system. So we say, yeah, why not? So we held a webinar on 5th May 2020 with these school teachers and also UPM lecturers who are interested to use Putra Pacer. Just to share some recognition that we got for our grant. Okay, we were granted copyright on 3rd of July 2020 for Putra Pacer, for the system, for the tool, for the manual and whatnot. And then we are also awarded the gold medal in Pictel 2019, October last year. I'd like to share some preliminary findings that we did with our students. So just recently, the past semester actually, okay, we have collected some data from our students who are enrolled in courses at our faculty and the Faculty of Computer Science. So this is our pilot test. And there were 34 of them who answered the our survey, all right, quantitative survey. All right, as we can see that the performance expectancy, how the students think that the system can help them to learn better. Okay, the effort expectancy is on how the students feel that how much effort they have to put into using this system, and social influence is on how their friends and their environment or the culture they are in or the activity system they are in would influence them to use Putra Pacer. So we did a simple Pearson's correlation analysis, and we found that there is a strong positive relationship between these variables with the students' behavioral intention to use Putra Pacer. So we believe that the higher the performance expectancy, the effort expectancy, and social influence is, the higher the chance the students want to use Putra Pacer. All right. In terms of value added, we believe that Putra Pacer gives a greater personalized experience to learners, especially those from gifted to significant disabilities, as they are able to prove that they have learned. And we also believe that learners will be able to proceed with the course of their study. So in the perspective of differentiated assessment itself, its effective features, which allows for do-overs, all right, inspires learners to achieve their personal best and take the initiative in learning, enables students' empowerment. So students feel more empowered by using Putra Pacer. Other than that, we believe that Putra Pacer has the ability to acknowledge and address learners' mixed ability and made it known to the learners. So they know, they can check how much marks they get, okay, which part they are wrong, and then why do they get this wrong, and how can they improve, all right? So this build a positive learning environment that leads to learner satisfaction in learning. And also the spirit of differentiated assessment that allows for do-overs will help learners to improve and grow over the course of their study. So they don't just feel like, oh, they're penalized, that's my marks, I cannot do anything with it. Instead, they feel that, okay, I want to do better and better and better next time. So this strategy is the ultimate in design differentiation. All right, in terms of scalability, this tool or system can be used either as a differentiated assessment tool or as a proctoring tool, especially for remote learning. So during the MCO, the first MCO, I've received questions from colleagues who are interested to carry out examinations. So they can also use this because Putra Pacer is totally customizable. So the way you set it on your account or in your settings, all right, can determine whether you want to use this as a differentiated assessment tool or as a proctoring tool. All right. So these affordances allow Putra Pacer to be used across disciplines. So whatever subjects you are teaching or whatever courses you are teaching, and across levels, which is whether you're a primary school teacher, secondary school teacher, or whether you are instructor at a tertiary institution. So you can use this as a differentiated assessment tool. All right. I think that is all for my sharing session today. So thank you so much for the opportunity, and I welcome any questions from the floor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Masnida. Thank you very much for a very interesting innovation that you have shared with us today from you and also from your team. So again, another benefit of collaboration between the multi-disciplines, right? Okay, we welcome any question related to the presentation by Dr. Masnida from the audience. You may ask your question directly, and you may also type your question in the chat box. Okay, there's one question. Is there any difference between Putra Pacer with Putra Blast or any platform?
All right. Thank you, Awang, for that question. So he's actually my student. So I know that there are several platforms that people love to use in their class. You know, students and instructors, they love to use Kahoot or quizzes. All right. So we identified that Kahoot and quizzes are a platform that usually will help that cannot go very deep into the students' learning. So it's usually quite superficial. You know, it can ask simple questions with simple answers. But what Putra Pacer is doing right now is that we allow the learners to be able to justify or to be able to let their instructors know what they are doing, or to let the instructors know their thinking process. All right. So that is the spirit of Putra Pacer. Also, I've had questions like, so does Putra Pacer is something like, you know, the TOEFL test? So yeah, it's something like TOEFL test, but TOEFL test is something, but you cannot upload videos or audio or documents on TOEFL test. That's one thing. Another thing, for the TOEFL test, it's already the content of the assessment is already there, so you cannot customize it. So what we are doing for Putra Pacer is that we want to encourage people who has little to no knowledge of alternative assessment, but they want to embrace alternative assessment. So how? By using this Putra Pacer, they just have to key in the questions and whatnot, and the settings there will allow them to embrace differentiated assessment. So not just, you know, conducting simple quizzes like that. So if you want to embrace alternative assessment, or if you want to embrace differentiated assessment, but you do not know how, you can use Putra Pacer and you are already an embracer. So that is what we aspire to do actually. All right. As for Putra Blast, I think there are some. I did not use the quiz function on Putra Blast, so maybe I'm not in the position of to be able to really answer this question. But Putra Blast also, I believe there are some functions on Putra Blast that allows for, you know, answering in a certain duration. All right, they can mix the question, jumble it up. But what I would say is that for Putra Pacer, we have that effective part or empathetic part where we would allow learners to justify, so that the instructors have an input of what the learners are really thinking. So they don't just take it face value. So this is what you answer. If your answer is wrong, then it's wrong. If you're correct, you get marks. So we do not want that to happen. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, hopefully the explanation has answered Mr. Awang Lee question. So any other question from the audience? I think we still have time before we move to the next our last presenter. Okay, maybe I can ask one question to Dr. Masnida.
Yeah, sure.
You mentioned about students are allowed to do mistakes, and in fact they learn from the mistakes that they have made. So what about the feedback that they would get? Because sometimes by learning, students would like to have feedback also, right? About the learning and the thing that they need to do to improve further. So how is feedback with respect to using Putra Pesa?
Actually, there is a section in Putra Pesa where the instructors can communicate with the learners. There is a chat section. Maybe I can share that screen. Let me try to do a new share. So let me try to open that up. There is a feedback section where students can communicate with their instructor to tell that, okay, maybe the instructor can say that, oh, this is what's actually happening, so you can improve here and there. Share. Okay, so here's a new share. I wonder if you can see the new screen. Is it showing the new screen, Prof? If I may cross-check.
Now we have Putra Pesa sign up now.
All right, okay. So this is the interface of Putra Pesa. Since this is a prototype, so the interface is not really, doesn't look like something that is ready to get commercialized. All right, so log in. Right. So this is the interface of Putra Pesa. So this is the home part. Okay, when you log in, so there is a list of examinations or tests or assessments here. All right. So you can choose to protect the your assessment, or you can also choose it to be just open, so anybody can take the assessment. So let's look at one instance. All right. So these are some of the examinations we can see here. I'm trying to open up one example. Right. All right, so actually there is this part over here with comments. All right, so the students can comment and the instructor can also comment here. All right, actually there are some tests that's already, there's a list of comments over there, so I'm trying to pull that up, but I'm not able to do so. I couldn't recall which part that has that list of comments. Okay. But we do have that in my if you go to my account, all right, you can also look at the assessments that you have done. All right, so you can also look at let me open up this view. Okay, so you can look back at all the questions that you have answered. All right, so there are 3 levels. For this one, the instructor set it as mudah, sederhana, and sukar. So we do not put as C1, C2, C3. So you can put it, you can name it anything that you want. All right. So for this instructor, she chose to put mudah, sederhana, and sukar. So when you click on mudah, you can see the student. Okay, he or she can see the list of questions with their respective answers. All right. So for question number 2, the correct answer is A, not B. So it will give that feedback over there. All right. And then for aras sederhana, okay, it will also show the correct response, the correct answer to your response. And so let's see this one. All right. this is the subjective part. Okay. There is also part where students can upload their answers either in the video, audio, or picture format. Right. So here you can also see the students' chats. Students' chats. So let's look at. This part. Okay, so you can see the students' comments. Okay, so far so good. Attaching files is easy and it's hassle-free. So you can, the instructor can reply to the students' comments and also give feedback there, right? So you can see that students' responses over here. It's easy to use. You can see the results after answer it, so we know if our answer is wrong or right. So it's user-friendly, suitable for online quiz or test. So we received quite a number of feedbacks over here. And only the respective instructor can see. Right now I'm using the admin, so that is why I can see all of the feedbacks. So I hope this answers your questions, Prof.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. And hopefully this also gives some idea to our audience, yeah, or our Rakan Academic today. I'm sure if they have more questions, they can contact Dr. Masnida directly. Or if we have time after our third speaker, you can also ask questions at the end.
Okay,
Right,
sure.
thank you, Dr. Masnida.
Okay, thank you so much. All right.
Okay. So now let us proceed to our last speaker or our last presenter, who's also Dr. Masnida, but different spellings. Okay, allow me to introduce her or to read her CV. Sorry. Okay, Dr. Masnida Haji Hussein. She is an associate professor at the Department of Communication, Technology and Network, Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology, University Putra Malaysia. And she received her PhD from University of Sydney, Australia in 2012. Her research interest is mainly on the resource management for large-scale parallel and distributed computing, such as cloud and edge computing. Dr. Masnida is also involved in green computing and educational innovation project. Dr. Masnida has secured several number of research grants and a number of the IEEE since 2008. She became the editorial board member and reviewer in several national and international journals. With that, let's welcome Dr. Masnida.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me? Thank you, Professor Dr. Shafinas,
Yes, we can hear you.
our moderator for today. Thank you. And Alhamdulillah, to all my panelist friends, to all the audience, Assalamualaikum, and a very good morning. I think still morning. All right. So today's session is about I can say that the sharing experience, the project that we secure under GIPP. GIPP is the Grant Incentive Pengajaran dan Pembelajaran. Actually, this is my first GIPP, and this is also first educational based research project. My first educational based research project. All right. This project, or I call as OPEX, maybe I can share my slide. Okay. Okay, the project name is Online Performance Evaluation for Assessing Students' Participation in Community Services for Course Assessment in UPM, or we call as OPEX. Okay, this is actually, we have in this project, we have three main direction or three main components, which is first, authentic assessment, community service, and effective domain. Okay, first, the theme of this project is we carry the okay, but before that, this project, we received the GIPP starting November 2017. Until now, it's supposed to finish by this year, but Alhamdulillah, RMC extend the duration, and up to today, the grant is still on. I can still use the money. All right. So this project, the theme for this project is actually authentic assessment. Okay, what is authentic assessment? Is kind of assessment that we assess the student based on the real situation. So for this project, we intend to assess the student how they deliver the content that they gain in the classroom, how well they can deliver to their surrounding, their society. Okay, that's about authentic assessment. So then why we use community service as the medium to assess the student? Okay, when we talk about community, okay, we can say about many things about them. In fact, they have several diverse characteristics in terms of age, in terms of location, the scope. Okay, so why I take the community service activity as a medium to assess my student, because I want my student to be creative, to let them to put innovation in their activity, in their project. Okay, because they can create any kind of activities. For example, like selling a used good, trash up clean up trash, or go to school as school mentoring. What else? So many activities they can create. We let them to create any activities that they feel suitable. But the challenge is the activity that they created must tally or meet the cost outcome. Okay, so if let's say the course have the communication skill, so make sure they design the activity that able to touch or have an element of communication skill, or KK entrepreneurship, or TS. It depends on the course subject. All right. Okay, that's for the second component of the OPEX. The third component is we just assessing the affective domain. Okay, we have 3 domains, right? Cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domain. So in OPEX, we only assess the affective domain. So why we assess affective domain? The affective domain normally related to the feeling, real experience, so the feelings. Because as a lecturer, we are sometimes hard to see the real feeling of student. Contoh kalau kita pergi kelas tanya, do you understand? So semua faham. So we then not sure until what level they actually understand. The expression of the face like happy. We doesn't know that what the real perspective from them. So then that is why the initiative, that's why the big reason why I use affective domain as the element or the rules, the assessment rule to assess my student. So okay, maybe next slide. Okay, this introduction. Okay, before that, maybe I missed to say that OPEX is actually cloud-based application, so they can access through the in the cloud. So because I have GIPP, so I can use to run the cloud storage for my OPEX. Okay, we know that the affective domain we have 5 elements, which is receiving, responding, valuing, organizing, and internalizing values. Okay, in OPEX, we divide these 5 elements into 2 stages, which is offsite and onsite. So we're going to assess the student in these 2 stages. First, offsite. What is offsite? What the student need to do during the offsite? What thing that we assess them during the offsite? They during planning the project, designing the project, they need to actually to find the suitable community. Also, they need to create the suitable program, because as I mentioned before, the program must tally or meet their cost outcome. So during the phase of offsite, when they conducting the meeting with the colleague, the friends, meeting with the group, so that's things that we assess. Then for on-site, we actually on-site, the student will go to the community, execute the activity that they've been designed before. So they go to community, they meet the community and do the program with the community. So one of the things that element of assessment that we cater in OPEX, the evidence. So we have 5 elements of affective domains. So each of the element, they need to upload one evidence for each element. They can upload more, but for OPEX, one element is enough, but more is better. Okay, so they need to upload evidence. Means that when the student upload evidence, means that after that the lecturer will assess through OPEX. The lecturer will check the evidence. Is it the evidence really respond or answer that particular element? Which is, for example, the evidence, is it the answer the valuing part? The definition of valuing. If yes, so the lecturer will tick automatically the mark given for the student. For OPEX, the 5 elements, we have a different weightage for each element. So totally for OPEX itself, we have 40%, but normally we only take 5 to 10% of the carry mark for especially for the affective domain. So it's just straightforward assessment mechanism, because we just want to know the real expression, the real feeling of student when they're doing the program. So actually, when I create a program, or I ask the student to instruct the student to create this kind of community program for the class, I'm not just assessing the affective domain. I also assessing the cognitive skill. But that one, sometimes I also assessing the psychomotor skill when they're doing the workshop, bengkel. So I want to see, is it able to do the configuring or sort. But that particular part, we assess in different mechanism. For the affective domain, we're gonna use through the OPEX. All right. So means the what I can say, the special about the OPEX, the lecturer no need to read the document, the report, maybe 20 pages report. They no need to read that. Maybe to check the simulator, is it works or not. So in OPEX, the lecturer no need to check that. Maybe check that for another domains, but not for the OPEX, for affective domain. So that's why I say the assessment process like easy and straightforward assessment. Okay, due to we use the community service as the medium to assess our student, actually we respond to, even though the project start 2017, but we support the expression of the University for Society. So I hope this framework, this OPEX framework can also be implemented to others faculty. But I believe all of you, all the lecturers in UPM have embed the community service activity in their course. Just maybe the way of assessing or the framework how to assess in terms of, especially in terms of affective domain, maybe still lack of that, or I don't know, maybe they have a different approach on that. But OPEX come this mechanism of site and on-site assessment. Okay, this is a problem statement. Objective of developing the OPEX. When I mentioned before, there's a 3 direction: authentic assessment, the community service, and also the affective domain. Okay, the scope for the OPEX is we have a 3 admin, which is admin who know which lecturer teach what subject. So the admin will enter this course to the one is by request from the lecturer. If lecturer want to take the subject and use OPEX to assess the student in terms of affective domain, so the course will add to OPEX by admin. The lecturer will register for the student group, because this one group-based activities. So then the student will upload the evidences and the lecturer will check the evidence. After that, the student will get the mark, straightforward. All right, we use cloud storage, cloud hosting. All right, this is a flow chart, user diagram. This one, the flow process of the registration module, assignment module, the evidence, need to put evidence, the student need to put evidence. This kind of some list example of evidence. Maybe they can put a report, not straightforward report. For example, in what element receiving means the student need to investigate or choosing the right community, and maybe they need to contact the community, let's say can them go to that place, that location to do this program, project or activities. So that element, the communication, if the course measure the communication skill, so the communication, the student with the community is part of element, part of evidence that they can put in our OPEX. Also the body language, maybe from the picture, they can put any types of file as evidence in OPEX. But due to we just run the cloud storage for limit the minimum spec, so normally if the one class have 5 groups, only for the video, this one especially for video, so maybe only 3 or 2 groups only can upload the video due to cloud storage limitation. The other video, sometimes the student just show the video, but for Apex they will upload the picture. So in Apex they can actually upload any types of file. Okay, the interview, the feedback in terms of just saying or just put in words, I happy with this, we happy with this project. Then like say a smiley face, something like that. It's just kind of evidence. For this version of OPEX, we doesn't yet to really critically justify or check on evidence. Is it really tally with the elements of effective domain or not? Not critically measure on that yet. We just form the framework for this version of OPEC. So that's the way of to assess the evidence. As long as the evidence is slightly matched with the definition of element, that's okay, that's fine. Okay, for giving a marks in OPEX, if the lecturer doesn't satisfy with the evidence, the lecturer will not tick for that particular component. So means the student will not get mark for that particular component. So instead of 40, maybe the mark is lesser. It's how it works. Okay, this is an initial framework. Before we develop the online tool, this is a framework. Okay, I've been to some school activity because we are teaching the science and technology subjects and technical subject. I'm from the network department, so most of the activity with the community service is part of the workshop and part of the school mentoring. We cannot go to the mosque for have a painting session because the OPEX, the assessment needs to meet the course outcome. But I believe the other lecturers who have doing the creative subject, so they can go design a mural. It's kind of that. So maybe the activity can also part of activity for OPEX, and then the lecturer will assess how the student feel, how they are actually the real perspective of them. Also, before I forgot, in OPEX, we doesn't, for evidence itself, we doesn't see that, okay, this expression is wrong, this expression is right. No, we doesn't judge the expression of student. We just judge or measure or evaluate on the evidence towards the meaning of, for example, receiving, meanings of valuing. That's all. We doesn't judge. Is it so means the student can say that program is, I'm not happy with the program. If the lecturer open-minded, so that one is a good feedback for the class, for good feedback for the community activity, means so that design of activity may be not good for next batch class. But the element of the student saying that I'm not happy with the activity can also give the mark for that, because they express the real feelings. That's actually what the intention of Apex. Okay, we doesn't judge the feelings. Okay, for initial framework, before we develop the tools, the goals of community certification, cost effective, and also improve communication skill and adapt with the real situation. That one, the real situation actually carried by the authentic assessment. Activity must showing the integrity, the honest, responsible, respect for people. That if the student go to the school children, primary school, so how they want to deal with this small kid. Okay, that's one things that we're gonna assess on how they actually communicate with these real people. Okay, and outcome to improve a fulfillment, impact to boost perspective, because the community can see what we have in the university, and university can have good engagement in the community, because they after they graduated, they will go back to their society. So it's good for them to know earlier is their community. How? By joining or creating activity with them. All right, the sample earlier assessment before we change the perspective of assessment put in the online tool. This is interface of our Apex. Okay, interface of Apex. So the lecturer will register the group for student. Then after that, the student get email of the notification. So using the email address, using the username, the student then sign into the Apex and put all the evidences. Okay. Also, lecturer can view back student evidence. Okay. All right. Student also can check the status of submission. Is it the lecturer not graded yet, or the not marking yet? Is it the lecturer have mark? So the student can check the total mark. Then we have several kind of status. This is output from the Apex. Okay, we have 5 elements of the effective domain. So we transform it into the web result like this. Due to this project actually start 2017, so because 2018 we are doing this kind of web measurement for the course. That's why in OPEC we use the idea, and we show the result of the student in web picture. This one, email notification. If the student register, if the admin register the course for the lecturer also get the email notification. Then the lecturer will register for the group of the student. I mean, so for example, one class maybe have 4 groups, so lecturer have to create this 4 group for the student. Or sometimes in my class, normally we have 25 to 30 students, so we just create 2 groups. So 15 students, 1 group. So we have 2 different community project for OPEX. So it's not lecturer need to create or register many large number of a group for the student. The student will get the notification, then we will use the username to enter or sign in to the OPEX. Okay, so we secure the copyright last year, right? Last year. Yeah, last year, 2019. This actually that's all my team members, me, Dr. Norowi, Dr. Salfarina Abdullah, Dr. Nur Azhar Hussein, and Dr. Nur Fatihah Muhammad Yusuf. Only Dr. Nur Fatihah from the different faculty, biotech faculty. The rest is from my faculty, but different department. Okay, why different department? Because we want to see different, because I'm from the network department, so I want to have course from other departments to see how the variance of the community service activities that they can, is it applicable to be assessed by OPEX? Okay, that's why my team member is from different department. I'm from network department, Dr. Norris from multimedia department, Dr. Safrina from SE department, Dr. Nur Azura from science computer department, and Dr. Nur Fatihah from biotech faculty. Okay, so we also publish several journal papers, several Scopus journal paper. Last year, I involved in contribute in scholarship of teaching and learning books from that published by CADe. It's about the framework of of OPEX. We also next week I'm going to present one paper for the international conference for the OPEX. For focusing on the online tools. The book by CADe is for focusing on the framework. We also joined the PICL 2018 and 2018 is just for framework of the authentic assessment through the community service. And last year, the full set of OPEX for PICL also, but both we only get silver. But it's okay. Thanks a lot to CADe to having, especially the months of pendidik ni. There's so a lot of activity which is we can join. We then actually me as a network not like expertise, but a network technologies. It's actually when we jump into the educational based research, is give this different satisfaction. It's good to explore, and I'm really enjoy when doing these activities and project. I think that's all my sharing, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Masnida, and also congratulations to the achievement by you and your team members. So I would like to welcome questions from the audience. If you have anything to ask Dr. Masnida about OPEX.
Assalamualaikum. Amin.
Waalaikumsalam.
Amin ya. Amin.
Yeah.
From Fakulti Perubatan dan Sains Kesihatan ya.
Okay, Dr. Amin Ismail.
Yeah. I think very excellent ya. Excellent innovation ya from your team ya, Dr. Masnida ya.
Yeah.
I think in my department I think we have a program Bachelor Science of Nutrition and Community Health because our nature of our program pretty much working with the community because we are normally we plan for the health promotion activity, and then we go to the community because most of our subject they are dealing with the community because they are after they have finished their program, they are become a nutritionist and they are working with the community because they try to improve the nutritional status of the community. Because I think this your tool your OPEC I think very good for them. That's why I think it would be very good if you can try to use our student and then to test on this product because we are dealing not only on the a simple element, but we need to know for example a lot of things because I think if I'm not mistaken, previously we are most on using their survey, their information, their evaluation, based on those. Maybe this system will try to help the lecturers to speed up, in terms to evaluate the student progress, the learning outcome of the course at the end by the end of the semester, they are achieved in certain learning outcome. And then will be toward the program outcome. My question, for example, did you have do the validation in terms of the finding of your result based on your OPEC with other tool to validate whether the result is it how the validation all about? That's what my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the suggestion for the maybe I can see the, thank you for the opportunity. Maybe later I will bring OPEX to your faculty and have a good session. Actually, before I answer the question, actually we've been also contacted by several college, international private college, and also one one university, asking me to have a sharing on the OPEX. We discussing, but then PKP last March, so I cannot go there. It's actually maybe then I have a different mind. And the idea which is maybe I need to package the OPEX in that we can have a sharing session or demonstration or hands-on session through online. So I need to think about that because before this we just focus giving the sharing OPEX face to face. Okay, about the about the question from the Tamin. When we present the copyright at PSP last year, we have a several yeah, of course, a literature review, compare with others system, but finding is it have similar system in at least in Malaysia, but we didn't find one. And also agree by the community copyright tu, dia kata why not you upgrade this system become pattern. That time I will need to think twice because yeah, because it's this is first my education based research project. So to go to patent, it's like okay, there's a huge thing I need to study about the field of education. So that time, okay, only I got granted the copyright. So for the information, until copyright last year, we didn't find any system that's similar with OPEC. I don't know outside, overseas, but we also find literature from other country. Normally, they just use in terms of large of evidences using the paper-based evidence. We want to reduce the paper-based evidence by putting all evidence in the system. Because in basically the project this project is to converting the paper-based framework into some sort of computerized piece system. So for time being, for computerized piece, there's no system yet. So far, I know. But the paper-based validation is there. One more thing to answer Dr. question, we for time being we doesn't yet critically assess, judge the evidence of student. Is it really meet the valuing? Is it really meets the what elements of sorry, I forgot, responding. So we doesn't yet the assess until that point for time being for this version. So I don't want to say that it's only the only and one system like OPEC in Malaysia, but until up when we're doing the copyright presentation, that's our founding. So how I will I validate? Okay, for the result of the OPEX, okay, indirectly, okay, maybe I can want to add something indirectly. When we have OPEX, the student go meet the community, I can see the way they're doing the also because in the project also assessing the cognitive part and the reporting everything. So actually when they do go the community, they can do the reporting very well compared than batch the previous student that I didn't have this kind of idea yet. So means they can because they have the experience, so they can elaborate well in report writing. I can see that. So maybe I guess also Dr. Student also can I've explained that same also. When they go to community, they meet the real people. So when they do the writing, so everything is perfect and relate to the real environment. Can have a good elaboration. Like in computer science, for example, before this, they can get information from the website. Normally they just copy and paste and copy, edit and space. So but when they do can go to the real community, they can see the real problem. They can write the problem in the report writing, but they want access in the cognitive part. But yes, there's improvement when I can see the student able to meet the real problem, see the real people. I hope I answer your question, Dr. Amin. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Prof. Amin, and thank you also for the clarification, Dr. Masnida. Is there any other question from the audience? Okay, if I may ask one question to Dr. Masnida, it's interesting that you said that this is the first education-based grant. So can you share with us your experience with respect to writing proposal of education-based and also the kind of grant that you may be familiar with before this as a reference to other future applicants?
All right. Okay. When I plan to apply GIPP, some of my friends say that bila we know that memang apa tu dia punya amount pun not that much. Tapi I think I want to challenge myself because we are teaching science and technology subject. We are computers. I'm the totally technical people. We just involved in networks, configuration, setting, everything. I challenge myself because I want to have a not reducekan gap between the science, technology, and society. So how I want to reduce that gap? In my class, normally it's easy to get engaged with the industry. I have a good collaboration with the cloud providers in Malaysia. But how to engage the student with society? Because to have give a respect to industry and to give respect to society is different, very different way we doing the respect. So that's the idea why I want to apply GIPP, and it's hard actually when I want to go to the educational based research. I need to study what is actually affective domain, what is compared, what is different between cognitive and psychomotor. I want to have to go to Bloom. Before this, I just accept the CADe, what we call it triangle books, just accept and just match with the course. But when applying this grant, I need to understand what is Bloom, what is why it's different compared to this, why this subject, okay, every single thing I need to study, even though it's not for the purposing of the developing of the OPEX, but the backgrounds of the need a strong background in order to apply for this grant. It's a challenge, but I take challenge like to go to different perspective of my research because I'm with network since my degree, master, PhD. So I think yes, because we are lecturer. Okay, we are doing we are educating the giving our service to our student in doing giving the information, knowledge, and groom our student. So why not I try to have different perspective on my research for this GIPP.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So on that similar note, perhaps other presenters, if you would like to share any tips to our colleagues, our rakan pendidik who will be our future, who will be the future applicant for this grant? Maybe Dr. Shamila, if you would like to share some tips for them.
Okay, terima kasih Prof Moderator sekali lagi. Kalau kita dengar tadi, rakan-rakan pendengar, rakan-rakan pensyarah semua, kalau kita dengar daripada sharing session tadi, sebenarnya memang kita tak boleh nak work alone. Sebagaimana yang kita dengar tadi juga, apabila ada satu-satu inquiry tentang passion kita tu, kita rasa kita mempunyai idea. Kalau Dr. Masnida dari the last presenter tadi bagi tahu kita bukan daripada pendidikan, tetapi pada masa yang sama challenge untuk kami di Fakulti Pendidikan mungkin semua kebanyakan beranggapan kita faham tentang keseluruhan perkara dalam pendidikan, which is not very true. At some point memang itulah dia yang kita belajar di sana, yang kita aplikasikan dekat sana. Makanya saya rasa it is always good for us to be humble at some point and to recognize we need our friends out there to really come to us and work together. macam yang saya bagi tahu tadi, saya mungkin mempunyai idea, saya mungkin mempunyai aspirasi, tetapi saya tak tahu macam mana nak bina apps tu. Jadi kalau dalam keadaan tak tahu, of course mungkin cut short way-nya adalah kita hire lah orang, kita hire lah developer. Which is mungkin at some point kalau kita mempunyai allocation dan sebagainya. But we really need people in the team who can actually assist us dengan kefahaman yang lebih mendalam. Macam mana sebenarnya mudah cerita, mudah bahasanya adalah supaya kita tak kena tipu bila kita tahu selok-belok tu. Memang susah sebenarnya. I think sebagaimana yang saya share juga tadi Prof Moderator, bila saya mempunyai idea dan saya ada aspirasi untuk menambah baik pengajaran dan pembelajaran dalam ethics education tu, tetapi bila saya nak buat apps ni, saya dah mula rasa macam alamak tak tahu macam mana. Bila tak tahu macam mana itulah sebenarnya it actually sparks the interest untuk kita go deeper and mencari lebih banyak ruang yang kita tak tahu itu. Okay. I think sebagai orang, sebagai bekas guru, sebagai bekas kaunselor di sekolah, saya rasa saya mempunyai kefahaman tentang keperluan macam mana nak menjadikan pengajaran, pembelajaran, pendidikan etika tu untuk menjadi lebih baik dan senang. Maknanya tak ada lagi student nak hafal, nak baca kod tu saja. Tetapi pada masa yang sama, when they are in the real world setting, job setting, they are able to apply and be thoughtful tentang apa sahaja yang mereka lakukan di luar sana. Di masyarakat di Malaysia mungkin belum lagi sampai nak menyaman kaunselor dan sebagainya. Tetapi we are heading to the future yang unknown future. So itulah dia perkara-perkara yang kita cuba terapkan dan pembinaan apps tu sebenarnya saya harapkan supaya pelajar lebih seronok. Bila fun learning experience, we can ask ourselves when we are, bila kita berada dalam satu-satu keadaan yang menyeronokkan, kita akan buat apa sahaja. Kalau team members kita tu sebenarnya semua supportive, semua positif, susah macam mana pun memang kita akan sentiasa bersedia untuk bekerjasama, sentiasa untuk beri input. Kita tidak hanya menjadi penumpang, penunggang saja. Jadi saya rasa dekat situ, it is always good to reach out, seek for help. It is always okay to seek for help sebab kita tahu bukan kita boleh mampu buat segala-galanya. Jadi seeking for help ni sebenarnya suatu masa mungkin kita rasa macam nak cari orang dekat department saja, nak cari orang yang faham counselling saja, contoh kalau skop research saya tu kan. Jadi it's no longer relevant saya rasa di dunia sekarang ini. Sama juga dengan pengajaran teaching and learning kita tadi, saya bagi tahu pembinaan apps Ethos Han tu sebenarnya bukan untuk menggantikan the conventional one. Kerana kita tahu macam mana adab berguru ni adalah mesti secara bersemuka. Kena tengok, pandang muka guru dan sebagainya. So itu adalah first and foremost. Tetapi kerana musim pandemik inilah bila ada fakulti lain, daripada department lain, I think it is always okay for us to be humble and reach out untuk menerima bantuan. Kolaborasi tu adalah saya rasa lebih mudah dan lebih tepatlah kita jalankan dalam musim-musim pandemik sekarang ni supaya kerja kita tu menjadi lebih efisien, lebih bermanfaat dan lebih dapat disebarluaskan dengan sewajarnya. Itu saja Prof, pandangan saya.
Terima kasih Dr. Syamila. Very insightful advice from you. So Dr. Masnida, anything else you would like to add to that?
Assalamualaikum. Terima kasih Prof Shafinas. I think it's also important to remember that we are all educators. Sebab setiap kali tiba musim permohonan GIPP, I receive a lot of queries from friends from other faculties. Dia kata, oh, I don't think this grant is for me, but I want to try. But I think it's important for all of us to remember that after all, we are all educators. Kita semua ni pendidik, kita pengajar, kita semua teachers, kita semua cikgu. Sebab kita mengajar di UPM ni, kita pensyarah. So I know, especially for those from pure science background kan. So if as long as you are still teaching, then you are educator. So at heart, we are all educators. So don't feel like this grant do not belong to you. So don't be scared to try lah. And also, I think to be piggyback on what Dr. Nur Syamila was saying just now, it's important to collaborate. So we may be an expert in one thing, but we not be an expert in another thing. So as for me, I benefit a lot from my friends in my research team from the Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology, because I learn a lot from them. So ada benda yang saya tak tahu buat sebelum ni pun finally saya dapat tahu buat lah. Even though saya punya bidang is educational technology, but I'm not like technical technology tu I do not know. So I learn a lot from my collaborators. So my take home message is that we are all educators. So this grant is not just for those from background pendidikan. This grant is for everybody. We want to enhance our scholarship of teaching and learning, and we want to share what we have done for our grant. We want to share it with everybody so that more people can benefit from our innovations, and finally we can help UPM meningkatkanlah lagi reputation UPM. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to all presenters. We actually have come to the end of our session. If there is any burning question, maybe I will allow one question before we end this session. You may speak directly, or you can also write in the chat.
Hello, Assalamualaikum.
Salam Prof. Mutahara.
Okay, saya baru masuk je, namun saya punya harapan tu tinggi. Okay, walaupun baru masuk because I have a class. Congratulations pada semua yang telah menjadi panel pada hari ini. Very good session. Walaupun saya dengar last minute, saya rasa sangat seronok. Impian CADe, apakah tujuan CADe mengadakan, memohon keuangan, memerah idea untuk menghantar proposal kepada RMC to make sure untuk mengangkat darjat teaching and learning di UPM. Jadinya dengan pencapaian, dengan produk hasil yang diperolehi melalui GIPP, saya amat-amat berharap, jauh, dekat dan sedalam-dalam lubuk hati saya memohon agar semua yang mendapat GIPP share, boleh diguna pakai, sebab itu adalah tujuan utama GIPP itu ditawarkan. Boleh diguna pakai across faculty, boleh diguna pakai di dalam department kita sendiri, dan last kali boleh diguna pakai seantara Malaysia dan juga dunia. So saya harapnya semua penerima yang ini dan juga yang lain-lain menunaikan kita punya tanggungjawab untuk dapat diguna sama, dan sekiranya ini berlaku, saya boleh berusaha lagi untuk memohon keuangan pada tahun 2021. Kenapa kita tidak memohon untuk 2020 ni? Sebab saya tak memohon untuk tahun ini, kita dalam keadaan PKP dan ada yang projek pun kita menangguhkan disebabkan berlaku COVID-19 ni. So untuk yang tahun 2021, saya memerlukan input-input yang bagus ini menjadikan evidence kepada saya untuk memohon peruntukan bagi tahun 2021. Dan yang pastinya saya harap sangat disebarkan dan diboleh guna, share ilmu yang ada. Sebab sebagai tok guru, sebagai pendidik, selagi lama orang menggunakan ilmu kita, maka semakin bijaklah kita, semakin bertambahlah pahala. Itu saja daripada saya yang berurusan dengan GIPP yang berada di CADe. Terima kasih semua.
Terima kasih Prof. Mutahara. Okay, terima kasih semua. Okay, so basically the take home message that we can bring back today, one is collaboration, whether during the development of the project or the implementation of the project, even for long term, right? Long term application of the innovation. And another one is do not be afraid to seek, or do not be shy to seek for help. Okey, untuk itu saya menamatkan sesi perkongsian pada hari ini. Saya sekali lagi ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada pihak CADe yang telah menjemput saya sebagai moderator, dan juga terima kasih kepada semua pembentang dan juga kepada semua rakan pendidik yang telah menyertai sesi perkongsian pada hari ini.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Warga pendidik merupakan tunggak utama yang memikul tanggungjawab dan amanah dalam melahirkan graduan yang holistik dan berdaya saing di zaman penuh mencabar ini. Bagi mengenang jasa dan mengiktiraf sumbangan warga pendidik, tanggal 5 Oktober telah diumumkan sebagai Hari Akademia di peringkat nasional. Bersempena Hari Akademia, Universiti Putra Malaysia menganjurkan program Bulan Pendidik pada bulan Oktober. Saya dengan rasa berbesar hati ingin mengucapkan selamat menyambut Hari Akademia dan Bulan Pendidik tahun 2020 kepada seluruh warga pendidik Universiti Putra Malaysia. Sekian, terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Saya ingin mengucapkan selamat Hari Akademia kepada seluruh warga pendidik di Universiti Putra Malaysia. Kita teruskan usaha kita selama ini untuk mendidik anak bangsa kita menjadi orang yang berguna di masa akan datang.
Selamat menyambut Hari Akademia.
Selamat menyambut Hari Akademia.
Selamat menyambut Hari Akademia.
Saya mengucapkan selamat Hari Akademia kepada semua pegawai akademik Universiti Putra Malaysia.
I would like to wish Happy Academia Day to all academic staff of Universiti Putra Malaysia.
Aku dekam meri selamat Hari Pengajar ngagai semua bala pengajar Universiti Putra Malaysia.
Universiti Putra Malaysia verikum very good tandirikum aning testau sabergelikum. Selamat Hari.
Aku juga selamat onu Akademia nudu seorang pibaas Universiti Putra Malaysia.